Slog for the greater good. The unfortunate truth is that a lot of times in life there's going to be instances where you do not feel like doing things, and I mean like genuinely find it hard to do things, right? And for me, it's studies, right? I hate studying, right? But at the same time, I know that once I get into university, right, I'm gonna have infinite amount of time to actually work on what I want, right? That's the time in which I can genuinely work on my dreams, right? And the thing is that if I do not make it to a good university, then I will not have the time to pursue my dreams, because then I'll have to get stuck down with get stuck down with internships and stuff like that. Right? So that's what it is for me, right? Studies. And if you are at that age right now, right? I think for most guys my age, right, who are like me, right? If you're watching this video, you probably are, right? It is just balancing between studies and play, studies and your genuine purpose, right? And you must understand, bro, that no matter how much I've criticized, I'm the biggest criticizer of the education system. No matter how much you criticize it, you must understand that if you're born into the system, you can either climb to the top or you can get out of it, right? Climbing to the top means obviously scoring well, being the top 10% of students, right? And getting out means leaving the country, or at least leaving the education board you're following, or pursuing something which is not very conventional, right? And in India, pursuing something which is not very conventional either goes very, very good or very, very bad. That leaves you with leaving the country, which, if you're not rich, is again impossible. If you're watching this video, you're probably an upper middle class boy and you can probably afford to leave the country, right? But thing is that saying that to your parents will sound ridiculous, and why, like, it'll cause another array of issues to come up, and there'll be an illogical discussion in the family. So instead, so if you unless you actually are thinking that after my 12th I'm genuinely gonna leave the country and I'm gonna pursue a course outside the country, or I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do outside, right? Unless you're actually taking it seriously, right? There's courses like ACC and stuff, but that's all BS if you ask me, right? There's like a lot of courses outside, right? Including like British CA and stuff like that. Unless you're considering those, bro, you're gonna need to slog it out and get to the top of the Indian education system, which honestly isn't as hard as people say, right? Like, of course, it is difficult, right? It is extremely hard, but you know, the hard that you're thinking in your mind, right? It isn't that same hard, because us men, right? Especially us young men, we have a very specific understanding of the term difficult and hard, right? We perceive difficulty relative to intensity, right? So if I say, bro, that exercise is really hard, you're gonna imagine that it's really hard to do, as in it's very intense. It's like you'll need a lot of strength, right? You'll need a lot of endurance, right? You'll need a lot of, it'll cause you a lot of pain. But what most people won't think about it is that for how long you're actually gonna have to endure that, right? It could be a horse stance, right? A horse stance is basically keeping your legs as wide apart as you can, bending your knees and just standing, right? Like a sumo wrestler. Just keeping that, right? And it won't hurt initially, right? Compared to like a split. That's why, you know, it's like, split. It looks very flashy, but it only lasts for a few seconds. Whereas a horse stance looks very boring and monotonous, but the benefits, the health benefits it has compared to a split is phenomenal, right? That is the beauty of unattractive things, right? Thing is that when I say that it is not that hard, right? I mean that, see, it isn't very intense, right? There are, of course, there's gonna be days where you're gonna have to do some intense studying, but it's not gonna be every single day, right? If you study consistently, that is the kind of hard I mean, that you're gonna have to show up every single day to do the boring stuff. You're gonna have to go ask the teachers, make them, explain it to you, stuff like that. And at the end of the day, like, it truly, like, for most courses, right? I assume you're in 10th or 11th right now, right? For most courses, it is generally just, your 12th standard and your entrance for which you need to prepare, right? Because this year, like the year I'm entering into, of course, it's gonna be stressful, right? And what am I gonna do about it? I can either sit down, just think more about it, or I can be like, see, it's gonna be a stressful year, right? But that means I'm gonna, you know, improve a lot. I'm gonna grow a lot this year, right? There's gonna be a lot of studying, but that means I'm gonna push myself to my limits, man. Even if it means that I sort of have to mess my mental health up for it, as long as I score well this year. It's gonna be worth it, because the next 5 years is what I'm spending this year for, right? So if you walk into this new year with that mindset that, whatever happens, bro, even if I find myself in the middle of September, right, thinking, oh my god, I haven't done anything, I'll still get up and I'll start off again, right? That is the mindset you should have. Anyways, be ready to slog it out this year. Stay happy, stay smiling, and do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.